back to Unmasked. I'm Ronnie Thompson.
And I'm Lazowski. Keep listening to hear this week's question.
Hi, I'm Ronnie.
First, I'm Adam.
And today we're at GSU. What are we asking people today?
Today we're asking what are their thoughts on adulthood.
Let's go.
Adulthood is terrifying. I do consider myself to be somewhat independent. I pay for my own tuition, I pay for my own rent, I don't get any help from my parents. But at the same time, when I step out into adulthood, when I graduate, it is the real world. I'm gonna need to have a big boy job. I can't wake up at 11 o'clock on a Saturday because I don't have any homework to do that weekend. You know, to me, adulthood is a symbol of when real worry, responsibility starts, and I have to start actually planning. Right now, 401k, retirement, all that stuff, don't even know what it is. Wouldn't even know how to start it if I wanted to. Once I'm done with college, I'm gonna have to start learning that stuff. And I don't have a lot of time as a guy who's about to be a senior next year.
Okay, so do you feel like adulthood is more like something you're forced into or something you get to choose, or kind of both?
I think it's a bit of both. I think you kind of get to choose when to enter depending on what path you take leaving high school. I also think that's too early of a time to make kids decide what they want to do with their lives and when they want to go into adulthood. But like my younger brother, he's 19 years old. He's already graduated trade school and he's working a full-time job. So he chose to enter into adulthood earlier. My sister, she turned 22 yesterday. She's already engaged and's bought a house. She's in nursing school while managing a full-time job. This makes me look like the embarrassment of a child, despite the fact that I go to a good school. So yeah, they've both chosen to enter into adulthood much earlier than I have. I'm still clinging on to whatever youthfulness I have left.
Okay, so I believe that what makes you an adult is definitely financial independence. I'm most excited about like living my own life and like not having someone like dictate what I should do, and just like having that like independence on my own. Yeah.
Okay, me personally, I don't feel like an adult at all. I feel unstable. I'm not financially independent. And also, I keep getting sick and I don't know how to take care of myself the way that I feel like an adult would. And I feel like until I stop getting the frat flu, I will not actually be an adult. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I kind of feel the same way with the like independent like financial support, and I feel like when I'm in college, like I still rely on other people for help and things, like same with my parents, and like once I'm at the point where I can really do things independently without like that like safety net of others, that's when I'll feel like an adult.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. Like financially, I can't take care of myself either. Like I always call my mom. And I have older siblings, and like I've seen them reach milestones that I haven't, so I'm like, oh, like I'm not an adult, like I haven't gotten there yet. So yeah.
What are your thoughts on adulthood?
Overrated, I guess. As like children growing up, we always wanted like the freedom of adulthood, such as, you know, spending your own money, doing what you want without having to ask permission. But I don't think like society prepares us for adulthood. I feel like you just wake up one morning and realize that you're an adult and you have responsibilities. So yeah.
So I was actually thinking about this the other day. It's kind of strange because I just turned 21. And so, you know, legally I'm supposed to be an adult. Legally I can do pretty much everything that like a 60-year-old man can. But I still don't know where I'm going with my life. I'm still in college. I don't know how to do my taxes. I'm still on my parents' health insurance. So I think there's a lot of things that like, you know, hypothetically, like I should be doing, I could be doing, but I'm not doing. I think I'm more worried about graduating college. So I think, you know, just being in college kind of makes you feel like you're in this weird spot between being an adult and not an adult. But for now, I think I'm going to enjoy being able to drink and go out and party and act like a child a little bit longer. Just a child with money and less real responsibilities. So I think that's the weird space between, but my answer is going to be really different in like a year when I have to go find a job.
I think it's interesting because like
people think they go to college and that they automatically become adults because they live independent lives, but I feel like when we're in college, we're still super sheltered and we still have a lot of safety nets. And so as much as we are adults right now, I'm very scared to graduate because then that's actually going to be like being thrown into the world in the deep end. And I'm not ready for that yet.
I don't think you could really consider yourself an adult while you're still in college because I just don't feel like this is the real world. Like, it don't really make a lot of sense. And somehow, even though you're so far away, you're still under, like, your parents in a certain way. And just, like, how they view certain things, you still have that in the back of your mind always. So until you can completely separate, like, your own ideas and thoughts from what your parents are, like, then are you really an adult?
I think that a lot of people get really scared by it. Obviously, they're waiting to get jobs or go to certain master's programs, whatever their path is. It's all very nerve-wracking because there's endless opportunities they have to choose from. But you could also turn that around and be like, there's endless opportunities to choose from, and you could do whatever you want as long as you really work towards it. So I think that's really exciting.
As a senior, I think it's a little scary to think about going into the real world, and I want to see how prepared I am for it, but also I feel like I'm still a kid, like inside my body. I remember walking into BU for the first time, like it was yesterday, so it's a little scary. It's a little scary to think about.
Well, I think it's scary, but like as a senior, I think BU is prepped as well. Living in the city, I think it gives you that independence where it allows me to transition once I'm post-grad. So look forward to it more so than everything.
I think of adulthood as sort of an excitement. Like, it's the next thing you do, you know, right before you get on the roller coaster, you're really excited to get on the roller coaster. Right before you ride a motorcycle for the first time, you're super excited to ride a motorcycle for the first time. So when I'm going into adulthood, I don't think I'm an adult yet, but, you know, soon I will be. I think it'll be just like riding a bike for the first time.
I feel like there's never really a point where you like officially reach adulthood because I feel like as we get older, we're like, no, I'm not yet. Like, I'm not an adult in adulthood yet because I still have to figure out this next thing. But there keeps becoming new steps that you need to figure out where it's, you know, you're more or less living on your own when you're in college, but you're not officially living on your own. But then you have to, you know, like figure out tax and stuff, but then you have to figure out retirement, and there just keeps on becoming new steps to adulthood that you just need to keep figuring out.
So I know a lot of people, for example, that had to develop a lot earlier, partially because they didn't have a support network, but also because other people relied on them. So I have one friend who is example, he's from India, and he's trying to get into med school as fast as humanly possible because what happens is that he has a sister back home that he's trying to bring here as a dependent of his. So considerations about like whether or not he wants to go to a party or he wants to do this or that kind of are sidelined by that other extra responsibility. You have more stuff to deal with in general. And you can't just, things need to work somehow. You don't have the choice of, I'm not being able to make ends meet. So you kind of have to find workarounds for things. And there's this kind of frustration and having to learn how to deal with frustration. But then afterwards, moving past that and saying, okay, let's try something else. Let's try another tactic, another approach.
I think the scary part of being an adult is, like, you are responsible for yourself. So the added responsibility for yourself is what's scary. But also being an adult means that you get to make your own choices, which is exciting because you can lead your life to directions that you want to, as long as you're willing to take the consequences that come along with it.
Do you feel that you would rather have the freedom to make your own choices, or, like in a hypothetical world, or have safety nets that your parents can provide you?
I think, like, after hitting a certain age, I'll, like, prefer having my own choices and dealing with my own consequences because, like, my parents won't be there forever. And at one point in my life, whether I want it or not, I'll have to be independent from my parents. So I think after a certain age, having that choice and starting to deal with the consequences that come with the choices are important.
What are your thoughts on adulthood and being an adult?
So I was mostly an adult since I was a kid. Since my parents were both really busy and pretty much absent for most of my childhood, I felt like ever since I could walk, I had to learn how to like cook, take care of myself. And when I was 14, which was the legal age of working in my state, I pretty much started working to bring in money and income and help provide for my parents because we come from a low working class. So a lot of my income pretty much went to them to help pay off taxes and pay for like living, housing situation, and whatever other rent and stuff. And pretty much I felt like I've been an adult for most of my life. When I went off to college, I started living on my own, living in an apartment and paying rent, paying for groceries, paying utilities, paying internet and all of that. And I pretty much learned how to do my own taxes. I started doing my own investments like Roth IRAs and 401ks, and I started looking for more jobs and everything. So for me, like adulthood is like, it definitely is intimidating, but I think once we all like kind of experience adulthood in a sense, it will pretty much be like a new sense of like freedom.
I feel as if adulthood it's different for everybody. And particularly for me, I feel like it's something that I will never reach, but I'm getting closer to every day. I feel like it's a goal of mine. I don't know, it's pretty vague. Yeah.
Do you want to reach it, or is it just kind of like it's always there as like a guideline?
I think if I do reach it, or if I feel as if I'm reaching it, I'm doing something wrong. Because I feel like adulthood kind of ties in with, capitalism and just like losing your sense of self. So chasing it will get me success in terms of like a capitalist structure. But as far as, internal peace, I don't want to say enlightenment, but like enlightenment, I feel like if I reach that, then I'm, doing a disservice to myself.
So internally, per se, you want to remain a child, almost in a way,
True to
right?
who you are.
Yeah.
And that child, like, represents who you are and continues to represent, like, throughout the rest of your life, right?
Yeah, I feel like that childlike part of everybody is their individuality.
What are your thoughts on adulthood?
Yeah, so I think for me, I still felt like a child after I graduated college. To an extent, still didn't know how to do everything like well. But I think over the years after graduation, I got married, and now I'm even thinking about having kids soon. And so there's this level of like seeing that you kind of you're figuring things out on your own. Like I figured out how to repair my car on my own with YouTube, and like start kind of making those decisions where there's still times where I like will call my parents and like ask for help on things, which that doesn't mean I'm not an adult, but like it's just kind of learning to figure things out on your own. And as each year goes on, realizing, I kind of know how to do this, or I know how to find out how to do this, and it makes me feel a little bit more like an adult as each year goes on.
So, no, you started. You asked me. You asked me the question.
Hey, so now we're asking the questions to ourselves. And Ronnie, what do you think about adulthood in general? What are your thoughts?
Becoming an adult is really this exploratory process where you are maturing and you're growing. And maturing and growing means that you're changing, whether it's for the better or not, but like you're conscious of that change. And I think that a major part of it is like going through experiences that you've never been through before, and kind of having to like accept those things. Like when you get a driver's license and you learn how to drive for the first time. And I think that like being able to be fulfilled in that process isn't necessarily what makes you an adult, because it can be like very rocky. But I think that the main thing is that you're changing, and you have so much more consciousness of that change. What do you think, Adam?
I agree in many senses. I think there was one point that I want to mention is that at the end of the day, for me, adulthood is a marker of experience. Whatever experience that you incur, whether it be difficult or simple, the amounts of those experiences, it doesn't have to be per se more equating to someone who's more of an adult. But there are just certain experiences that provide you with a moving forward into the transition of becoming an adult. I think that's the place where we'll start to see true growth, and we'll start to really realize whether we're prepared to grow into adults or whether we're more comfortable staying in our own bubbles and staying within our own systems.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Unmasked. Tune in next week to hear
us again. Take care.
That was so good music. We're all exhausted.
I'm a vet.
Yeah, you're always ready. What are your thoughts on adulthood? No. Well, it's just a conversation. It's chill. What are y'all's thoughts? Yeah.
I go and then I hand it over and then
y'all can just all talk.
Okay.
And like here's the
If there's okay.
whoever's ready. Doesn't have to be nerve-wracking. Like
okay.
I think about this on the daily.
Okay. I guess adulthood is like you're practicing it, and it's the practice and the reality at the same time. You don't really get to like ease into it too much.
There's no one else to blame but yourself.
Okay.
I think at the end of the day.
Okay. Disagree. Period. Thank y'all for listening.